Spirit Halloween charges $60 for a single Halloween costume. I'm gonna see how many I can thrift for under $100. Halloween is my favorite holiday and I studied fashion in college, so planning Halloween costumes is my favorite thing to do and I look forward to it every single year. But I've always shied away from the store-bought costumes over the years because of the hefty price tag. But now that these kind of costumes are trending, I wanted to see if it's possible to find cute store-bought Halloween costumes without breaking my budget. So stay until the end of the video if you want to see the full try-on haul and how much I saved. But first, let's establish some ground rules for this challenge. 1, no DIY costumes. I'm finding costumes that originally would have been sold by a costume retailer. 2, all items must be secondhand and I have to get them in person. This means no eBay, Poshmark, Depop. 3, no repeat costumes. I can't get multiple of the same profession costumes or multiple witch costumes. Each costume has to be completely unique. Finally, I want to get as close to $100 as I can without going over the budget by a single cent. Before I even set foot in a thrift store, I decided to check out my local Halloween stores, Spirit Halloween and Halloween Express, to get some inspiration and see how much these costumes actually cost new. It's the first day of fall. The hunt for costumes begins today, but first, let's go do some investigating. Peep the earrings, by the way. At Spirit, there were a ton of cute costumes: a sailor, strawberry shortcake, Dorothy, classic profession costumes, and this specific nun costume that I have been eyeing for years, all priced at $49.99. The cheapest options I could find were this basic nurse costume and this boxer costume for $29.99 each. Walking up to Halloween Express and seeing these Leg Avenue signs had me hyped. Leg Avenue started making Halloween costumes in the early 2000s and has just been that girl ever since. The selection here was huge. There were so many Leg Avenue costumes, along with similar style costumes from Secret Wishes, California costumes, and Fantasy by Fun World. The prices fluctuated a lot compared to Spirit and felt very random. Miss Mafia was only $24.99, but Handcuff Hottie right next to her was $74.99. I couldn't tell if these sale price stickers on some of the costumes were legit or just came on the costumes when the store sourced them. Some of the costumes had also been marked for missing pieces or appeared to be damaged when I turned them around. There were so many fun costumes here. I loved their Wizard of Oz selection, this nurse costume, these adorable Y2K monster costumes, and this cute little pink witch. I've also been loving the idea of a firefighter costume, but these ones missed the mark for me. So here's what I'll be looking for. I'd love a Wizard of Oz costume of some sort. A cute sailor or witch would be fun. And my ultimate grail is this nun costume or some variation of it, because for some reason I've just been hyper fixated on it for years now. I'm now feeling even more hyped for this costume search, but first I feel like I need to get a fall drink. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good one. I got a pumpkin cream chai. First sip. Oh my god. That is pumpkin. That is pumpkin, all right. Let's head to Goodwill first. The first Goodwill I went to had this giant sign outside that said Halloween headquarters. And at that point I was like, okay, this has to be a good sign. Walking in, I immediately saw multiple racks of Halloween stuff and then noticed that the end caps of the aisles had packaged Halloween costumes, so I started digging. I thought this referee costume was cute, but it was junior sizing and $13 felt steep for what it was. They had the Spirit boxer costume, but it was $15, and when I turned it, I realized it was literally just the gloves. I got excited seeing this Spirit nurse costume, but it was marked as a medium large, so I decided I would pick it up and try it on. I was floored when I actually found a Leg Avenue Jessie costume, but it was $20. And to be honest, I didn't love this one, but I did love this Spirit costume called Pinup Sailor, so I picked this one up for $14.99. Finally, I went through their rack of costumes that weren't packaged. I immediately found this gangster dress and I picked it up for only $8. I was also intrigued by this latex firefighter costume, which I decided I would take into the dressing room. When I went in there and took the nurse costume out of the package, I noticed it was completely stained, so I didn't even end up trying that one on. The sailor costume was in good condition overall, so I decided to get it. I was shocked that this firefighter costume was actually long enough for me, but it just wasn't super flattering, and I noticed that it actually had a seam rip in the back, so I decided to leave it. So I left the first Goodwill with the sailor and mobster costumes for a total of $22.98. Because of the sheer amount of Halloween stuff they had there, I decided to head to another Goodwill location. This is my favorite Goodwill by me, so I already had a good feeling going in, and that feeling was right. I instantly found this nurse costume. I genuinely had to pause in disbelief after seeing the next costume on the rack. It was the nun costume with a bag of accessories attached, also for just $10. I was gonna have to wait until I got home to unbox this since the bag was taped, but I was really curious which accessories would be in there. And the total for these two costumes was $19.98. The next store I hit was an Amvet's, which also had a Shop Halloween sign up front, but upon further investigation, their Halloween stock apparently wouldn't be arriving until mid-October. So I moved on to the Veterans Thrift store. The first thing I saw was this huge bin of Halloween stuff, so I started digging. I found some really cute accessories, like these bunny ears for $2 and these Tinkerbell wings for $3, but I had to stick to my mission. I found one cute dress from California Costumes, but couldn't tell exactly what it was supposed to be. I found another nurse dress that someone had gone to town on with the fake blood, and a Leg Avenue petticoat that was a little long for the costumes I had been picking up. I decided to dig into what I thought was the kids' costume rack in case there were any adult costumes in there. When I saw this t-shirt, I realized maybe it wasn't exclusively a kids' costume rack though. There were some cute costumes and pieces, and then I came across something glittery. It was this little military jumpsuit that I was instantly obsessed with. There was another one next to it, but I didn't love that one quite as much. And then I spotted a Leg Avenue label peeking out on the rack. I was pretty disappointed to see that it was just this sparkle corset. I honestly debated getting it with the tutu and unicorn tail that I found on the same rack, but I just could not picture myself wearing that. So I went on my way with the sparkle jumpsuit for only $7.57 after tax. I checked a couple of other local thrift stores, but was not having much luck finding anything other than kids' costumes. At this point, I was missing Goodwill, so I headed to a third location. I was shocked to see this official Jasmine costume for only $7.99, and while it wasn't what I was looking for, it gave me hope for the prices here. My hunch that the pricing was better here was confirmed when I found this still in the package Dorothy costume, also for just $8. My heart skipped a beat seeing another Leg Avenue label, but it was just a junior costume, somehow priced at only $5. My disappointment there was immediately made up for when I pulled out this Halloween Express flight attendant costume. This costume is so unique, and looking in the package, I could tell that all the accessories were still intact. So I left with those two costumes for $15.98. With a little over $30 remaining in my budget, I decided to make the trek to yet another Goodwill. I thought this beer garden girl costume was cute, but I just didn't love it enough for the $13 price tag. I also like this waitress costume, but it felt like it being a waitress wasn't obvious enough, so it might be a little confusing. After a bit more digging, I found this Madonna costume. It wasn't officially branded, but it was clearly a copy of her VMA's performance of Like a Virgin in 1984. This was such a unique costume that for $12.99, I had to pick it up. A few days later, I went to my grandparents' house and I decided to continue my search at two Goodwill locations nearby. I had no luck at the first location. It was the first Goodwill to fail me. At the second, I found this awesome Eve costume, but it turned out that the dress wasn't actually in the package. Then I spotted a Leg Avenue package on a nearby rack. The reveal? It was a raccoon costume. I feel like I am cursed with finding the strangest Leg Avenue costumes instead of the classic cute ones. I decided to open it up, and this giant tail that was attached to the dress made me feel like I had to get it just because of how random of a costume it is. So it came home with me for $9.99. With $10.56 remaining in my budget, my last costume was going to have to be $10 or less. I went back to a couple Goodwill locations, but they hadn't stocked any new costumes yet, and I was stressing about where I could possibly go next. Then I thought of a loophole. One of my rules was that I couldn't order anything online, but I never said I couldn't go and pick something up. So I logged into Facebook Marketplace. Most costumes were priced at $20, and I felt bad trying to bargain anyone down to $10 since $20 really was a fair price for most of these. So I kept scrolling for a few days until finally I came across a costume for $10. Sweet Pea from Sucker Punch. This was a pretty niche and random costume to find, but I actually love that movie, so for $10 I couldn't really pass it up. The seller told me I could come pick it up that night, but once the night came, nothing. Yeah, she completely ghosted me. After 2 days of being ghosted and no more $10 costumes popping up on Facebook Marketplace, I was gonna have to go back to every location again. This was a little rough. When I made it back to the first location of this video, I felt like I was right back at square one. Sifting through the rack, I found a super cute Sandy from Grease costume, and right behind it, the Leg Avenue Gretchen costume. I became obsessed with this costume last year, and when I saw that it was only $5.99, I knew that it would be coming home with me. It was honestly a full circle moment completing this whole challenge right back where I started it. Now that I have all these costumes, I'm gonna try them on at home, style them, and you guys can let me know if you think they were worth what I paid. I also did some research and found the estimated original cost of these costumes, so I'm gonna tell you how much I saved. The pinup sailor ended up being the most expensive costume, which is funny because it's the only one that had noticeable staining on it. It came with the dress and hat, which I styled with a compass necklace and some white socks. The back collar of this was super cute too. This costume was $39.99 on the Spirit website, saving me $25. The pinstripe mobster dress came on its own, all of the crystals were intact, and it was pretty much in perfect condition. I decided to style it with some flashy gold jewelry to make it a little more interesting. This was a super simple costume, but I'm happy with how it turned out. Upon researching this one, I found that it's actually a Leg Avenue costume and that mine was missing the little tie piece. It doesn't seem to be sold anymore, and the only listing I could find for it was on Poshmark for $75, so going off of that price, I saved $67. The nurse costume came with the dress and Velcro belt. I styled this with a little heart choker to match. I think this costume originally would have come with a little nurse's hat, which I think really would have made the costume, but it was still cute once I paired it with some black thigh highs and heels. I had seen a very similar costume to this at Halloween Express for $45, meaning I saved around $35 on this one. The nun costume came with all of the accessories that were listed on the package: socks, gloves, headpiece, and of course the dress. I love how this came out once I was able to put everything on together, and this exact costume was $50 at Spirit, so I saved $40. The military jumpsuit had some of the sparkles falling off, but it was still in good condition overall. Since it didn't come with anything else, I just added a studded belt and black boots to complete the look. I couldn't decide if I preferred the little sleeve cuffs rolled up or down on this. Either way, this was such an easy costume and I ended up really liking it. When I researched this one, I found out that it was a Secret Wishes costume that originally came with a choker and hat. I found it listed on eBay for $40, meaning I saved around $32 on this one. The Dorothy costume was in near perfect condition, with the only issue being some fraying on the blue ribbon that was on the front. I did realize that if I actually wanted to be Dorothy for Halloween, I would definitely have to find some red shoes separately, since I shockingly don't own any already. This dress ended up being so cute though, and I just love the little Toto detail on the apron. This costume isn't sold by California Costumes anymore, and I was only able to find one listing for it on eBay for $65. With that price, I saved $57 here. The flight attendant costume also had all of its listed accessories: the dress, name tag, gloves, and light up hat, which even came with extra batteries. I was shocked that when I tried to turn the hat on, it actually worked and lit up flashing, which would be so fun for going out at night on Halloween. I'm obsessed with the colors of this costume. I think it's so fun and unique as far as flight attendant costumes I've seen go. I found this costume on Amazon, but it was out of stock and there was no price. So I'd estimate this one around $40, so let's just say I saved $32. The Madonna Like a Virgin costume came with so much. Inside the bag was the top, skirt, leggings, iconic boy toy belt, some jewelry, multiple pearl necklaces, gloves, and an extra mesh piece. And this, which I think is a random belt. I added a costume wedding veil I had, and I was just missing the white pumps, so I just put on black ones instead. If I was gonna fully commit to this costume, I would definitely style my hair like Madonna's in her performance, but just throwing on the costume here, I think it looked pretty awesome. And this is something I personally haven't seen anyone do before. Literally the only place I could find this online was this random sketchy website where it was listed for $35, so apparently I only saved around $22 on this one. I almost didn't get the raccoon costume when I saw it, but somehow it ended up being one of my favorites. It came with the dress, leg warmers, and gloves, but was missing the mask. If I were to use this costume, I think I would just do some dark eye makeup in place of the mask. I styled this costume with pumps to try to emulate how it was styled on the package. The tail on this is just so absurdly large that honestly, I love it. The dress somehow fit me perfectly and I feel like it was super flattering on as well. The hood with the ears is also such a fun touch on this costume. I found this one on the Spirit website unavailable for $60, so I saved 50 bucks. This Leg Avenue Oktoberfest style dress came on its own and I was surprised that it was actually a size large, but I still feel like it worked out fine because of the ties it had in the back. Some beer-related accessories would probably be needed to complete this look for Halloween, but the dress is super cute on its own too. This costume is currently still being sold on the Leg Avenue website for $79. So I saved $73, making it the most I saved on any single costume. Now to reveal the final stats. I spent $95.48, the closest I could get to $100 without going over. Based on the prices I found in stores and online, I saved $433 by thrifting these costumes instead of buying them new or even used online. Going into making this video, I honestly had no idea if I would be able to find any cute costumes at the thrift, but I found 10 costumes for under $100. The average price per costume comes out to $9.55. I feel like this video really proves that there are so many Halloween costumes out there that there is literally no reason to go buy a costume new and contribute to clothing waste. Even if there is something really specific you want to be, chances are you can find someone reselling it online. Clearly, I am all set on costumes for this year. I probably am not going to have enough Halloween events to go to be able to wear all 10 of these costumes, so if you want to let me know which ones you think I should actually wear for Halloween this year, that would be much appreciated. And hopefully I'm gonna be doing more fun challenges like this in the future, so definitely subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for watching, bye!